Hey everybody, we're getting near the end of October 2016, and of course, this fall a lot of interesting things have happened for Q Computer Channel. One of the biggest things is the channel hitting the 10,000 subscriber mark, and I believe I'm almost near 6 million views now. But there's one other thing I want to talk about, is my cameras. For those who have been, subscribed to the channel for a long time, may remember back in 2012 when I switched to Kodak Zi6 video cameras. Basically, you can find these things on eBay for dirt cheap. You can usually get them for like $10 to $20 a piece a lot of times, and they're very similar in design to a camera that I used to have, the black DXG 567V. It was a cheap little pocket camcorder that I had got at Walmart back in 2010, and you just absolutely used the crap out of it. That cheap camera shot a lot of interesting videos for Q Computer Channel, including the most popular video to date, Cooking with Intel Episode 1. That was shot with a black DXG camera, but basically, these Kodak Zi6 cameras, they were similar in design to the DXG 567V. Matter of fact, they're made by the same exact company. I'll go further into that here shortly. But neat thing about them is you can get them for dirt cheap, and they shoot video in either 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. Both 720p. That was the neat thing about it, is it would actually shoot video in 60 frames, and the video actually looked pretty decent. The Zi6 also, the colors, the amount of saturation of color within the video shot with these cameras was significantly better than the DXG 567V. Also, this all around they were pretty decent cameras, so I picked two of them up. Not one, but just two of them. And like the first things I did were these microphone mods to where I could mount an external microphone to the camera. A matter of fact, as I mentioned, they were very similar in design to the DXG 567V. A matter of fact, this black camera here has the exact same. Well, actually has basically, these cameras have two circuit boards, and you have a main board and you have a daughter board. The daughter board is where the batteries hook in, where your microphone hooks in, your speaker hooks in, a couple other little things, and it connects to the main board that has, the processor, the CMOS sensor, and things like that. But since with my DXG 567V, I had previously done a microphone mod to it, which consists with the mic jack and a switch to switch between internal and external mic. I simply just transferred everything over from the black DXG camera to this thing. So matter of fact, I transferred the exact same daughter board from the DXG to this. This camera here is actually running the daughter board out of DXG 567V. So anyways, all that being stated, I've had these cameras for 4 years now, and I figured I'll do a video just to show you how they have held up. And and to be expected, they have taken a beating under my possession. I've always called this one Zi6 number 1, and the one I'm shooting video with right now is Zi6 number 2, and I'll show it to you in a mirror. So you can barely see it, and you can see how in low light we get this choppy looking slow shutter. That's one of the things I can't stand about the Zi6, the same as the DXG 567V camera I used to have. You can see it's going okay now. But the DXG 567V was oversensitive to light exposure. It would go into a slow shutter in conditions like this, which if you go look at any of my previous videos, prior to November 2012, you would see exactly what I'm talking about in some of the videos. Basically, it would overexpose almost everything, so the colors would look a bit more washed out. You would see lots of grain. And of course, in low light, you would get the slow shutter like that there. But yeah, so yeah, the cameras have taken an extreme beating. So anyways, as I mentioned, Zi6 number 1 has, for the most part, been in charge of computer talent videos, but Zi6 number 2, the one I'm shooting video with right now, which has a very similar setup to the camera I'm holding in my hands here, has been used primarily for videos shot in my weather case. Videos I shoot of thunderstorms, things like that, weather events, sunsets. So these cameras, they just like the DXG567V, would see conditions from probably 120 degrees inside the weather case. Just the heat buildup inside the little case, little container. 120, 130 degrees probably. Maximum, this is Fahrenheit. Maximum, operating conditions to as low as maybe 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit during the cold winters, when I would do videos when it snowed and things like that. So yeah, these things they've seen quite a bit of abuse. So anyways, you may notice how this camera here looks all nice and shiny. Well, these cameras come with, it's like a rubbery texture material that's applied to the plastic. What it does is it helps minimize that kind of noise you hear probably right now. Of course, you would hear it. It would really pick up a lot on the camera's built-in mic. This was really the case with the DXG567V. But the only downside to this coating was over time it would get grungy and dirty looking. So I had recently just scraped it all off with a razor blade. See, there you go. I just went and scraped it off. So that's why the camera looks all shiny and everything. Because previously, now it feels nice and smooth to the touch. Previously, it would feel all grungy and sticky. I guess that's what happens with age. With excessive use like I've given them. The picking up the oil off my hands, picking up dirt, just picking up everything. The stickier they get, the more stuff they would pick up, so the more grungy the things would feel. Now, for example here, I have 2 other Kodak Zi6 cameras. I have one I just picked up, and I have no idea where the other one's at. But yeah, I picked these up off of eBay because you can get them for so cheap. One of them was actually free because it would freeze up out of the box. Basically when you put a fresh set of batteries in, you try to start it up, it would freeze up. I think it's this one here. I took it apart one time and reassembled it, but every once in a while it will still freeze up when you go to shoot video. But this is a lightly used Zi6, and of course I popped the silver bezel off because anytime I use these in my camera case, I don't need the sunlight to reflect off of this onto the plexiglass in the case. So that's why that's gone. Of course, when you take that off, you have to hot glue the basically you have to hot glue the glass cover for the lens back to the camera. So yeah, to do the microphone mod, it involves taking out, discarding the built-in USB jack. Normally you press a button in this area, like for example here, you get that little USB dongle. Of course, I remove that, and it gives me room to put in the circuitry for the external mic and the switch. It's just the jack and a switch, soldered to where when you switch the switch this way, you are actually connected to this jack. When it's switched this way, you're connected to the internal mic. So I could choose either or, and I can do it on the fly as well. Now you're probably wondering, for those who maybe not even aware of it, this camera was bought with a cracked screen. So basically, this bezel here was completely cracked. So what I did is I took, I had a scrap DXG579V camera laying around, so I took the LCD thing that flipped out and just glued it into place with a 2.4 inch screen inside here. I previously had this One time I actually had this whole assembly here attached to my DXG567V because I upgraded it from a 2-inch LCD to a 2.4-inch LCD. But anyways, you kind of get the idea. These things have taken a real beating. Just for example, the battery doors. You can probably see how the battery door doesn't stay closed all the way. It's not actually an issue right now, but all it would take would be for there's a little plastic tang there that actually grabs hold of the door. There used to be one here, but it broke long ago. If this was to break, there would be nothing else holding the little battery door in place. See, now I could go out and spend a bunch of money on some, high-end video camera, but I'm the kind of person who likes simplicity. I can modify things, to like, for example, if I want the external mic jacks, I can plug in my fake Sony ECM DS70P mics. Just simply modify it into place. Now, of course, I do actually have a camera now that has a built-in mic jack. It's the Play Touch, which I've also modified. I'll have to do another video of that. But yeah, the Zi6s, they've taken a real beating, and it's just like the DXG. It's like, even though the camera itself, physically takes a beating, lots of wear and tear on it. It's like the electronics, you just can't kill the things. With the DXG, I killed it by trying to flash a Zi6 firmware file into it just for the fun of it, just to see if it would run. And how I killed it was I accidentally removed power from the camera while it was flashing the firmware. So that's how I killed the DXG. But yeah, these things, you might be able to hear, there's a loose screw in there somewhere. But yeah, they just continued to work. For the most part, okay. Yeah, I would have to say if you're looking for a simple camera for YouTube videos, for videos like on, let's say for example here on the table, or if you're going to be doing time lapse video, these actually are, they do a pretty good job. The only things I hate about them is, there's a few things. I guess I'm going to go over it in the video. Is the slow shutter, I can't stand it. I wish I could disable it. For example, I have a find it in my stash here somewhere in the stuff. I just got moved into this place and I don't know where the heck everything is at. But I have a DXG 579V silver camera laying around, and within its menu you can turn on or turn off the slow shutter from coming on when it the camera senses low light. Because there's a lot of times where I prefer to have smooth video rather than have bright video. In addition, these cameras just don't do very well if you're trying to shoot video inside of a car. And it's actually internal to the camera. It's not anything to do with the microphone built into the camera or an external mic. It's just in the design of the camera, you get lots of feedback when you're inside something that's enclosed like a car, and it's very annoying. Thing number 3 I dislike about the Zi6 is the basically the viewing angle you're seeing right now. It looks like it's zoomed in, but I'll be honest with you guys, it's not zoomed in at all. See, somewhere in here actually had a fisheye lens. See, here it is. That kind of puts in perspective a little bit of actually what the viewing angle really would be. And sad to say, Kodak has not really fixed this with the PlayTouch Zi10. Like the camera I just showed you. It also suffers from the same thing. So my time-lapse videos could be better, and it also really impacts my elevator videos. That and the slow shutter, it terribly impacts it. Anyways, but still though, you can find these cameras on eBay for like $10, $15, $20. So if you're looking for a cheap camera just to get started with, or in certain cases like like with a lot of the videos that I shoot, these cameras are perfect for it. So yeah, okay, before I end this video, let's go and swap cameras. I'm going to actually start shooting a video with this one and let you look at the other camera. Okay, here's a look at the other camera, and you can see it also looks pretty dang rough. Now the LCD on this one is still original. It wasn't busted. This was the other camera that I got off of eBay right about the same time I got the one I'm shooting video with now. And another thing I forgot to mention, one thing I do like about these cameras is the fact that they don't have autofocus. That way your video is not constantly doing. When you're trying to shoot video things, it's not constantly getting out of focus and like doing this all the time. Basically, you manually set the focus yourself. For example, focus right in on that. Show you just how good the focus is on one of these. That's how good the macro is on these cameras. And of course I have the let's see, in this camera here I had the macro switch. There's basically an internal switch on the camera that tells the camera when it's in macro mode. And normally what that does is it puts a little flower on your screen and also disables zooming, digital zoom. I had that disabled so that way I can still do digital zoom with it in macro, and you can see how just how how close I can get in on things. And of course I don't use digital zoom much at all, but just to show you guys, just an example. Yeah. Okay, apparently I did not disable the switch because the little flower just came on just a second ago. But for the most part it's not coming on, so anyways. You can see again this camera here is a similar thing. I had the external mic jack glued on. I swapped the mic over to the camera I'm shooting video with right now. So I can just, with the flick of a switch, go between internal or external mics. The difference here is I used standard clear hot glue when I put this one together instead of the black hot glue. The black hot glue does look a lot better than this. And recently I broke the tripod mount on this camera. When this dumb tripod refused to unlock, I accidentally broke the entire tripod mounting piece was like broken inside the bottom of this camera, so I pulled a DXG on it. For those who didn't know, years ago I'd done a similar thing to my other DXG camera, the black DXG, and what I did is I took one of these, the tops that screw onto the tabletop tripods. You can see how there's another one just like it that's actually glued onto the bottom of the camera. What I did here is I glued it to the bottom of the camera, and that way it allows me to screw on a tripod. And actually this mount here is actually a bit more secure than the original mount that was in the camera. But yeah, anyways, this one here does not have quite as much wear on it because it spent more of its time in the weather case shooting videos of thunderstorms, sunsets, and weather events and things like that. Though I do occasionally use this camera for the same things I'm using the one I'm shooting video with right now for. But of course, what I'm shooting video with right now is the one I primarily, use for Q computer channel videos. Videos I shoot, like here on the table and whatnot. So, anyways, I know this is kind of a drug out video, but that is a 4-year status update on these Zi6 cameras. They've taken a real beating, but they continue to work. And that's amazing, isn't it? So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.